The line for lunch curled out the door like a hungry snake. Sizzling grills hissed behind the counter, ketchup-streaked paper trays flew past teenage hands, and the scent of greasy fries hung heavy in the air. Among the crowd stood a middle-aged man in a wrinkled polo, a grease-stained visor tilted awkwardly on his head. No one looked twice at him. Why would they? He looked like just another trainee, nervous, clumsy, invisible. But beneath the disguise, behind the fogged-up glasses and fake mustache, was Richard Langston, billionaire CEO and founder of the wildly successful burger chain, Fire Grill. And today, he was here not as the man who built a $4 billion empire, but as a customer at one of his own stores. A customer, on a mission. It started with a late-night email from a whistleblower. No name, no return address. Just a few blurry photos of moldy cheese, exhausted workers, and an unsettling note: this is what Fire Grill has become. We're not flipping burgers, we're burning out people. Richard could have ignored it. Could have passed it to PR. But something about it tugged at his conscience. After all, Fire Grill was his baby. Born in a garage, raised on street corners, and fueled by his mother's recipes and his father's work ethic. It wasn't supposed to become this. So, he ditched the boardroom and the corner office. No camera crews. No grand reveal. Just him, a fake name, and a crumpled apron. He picked one of their top-performing franchises, store number 118 in Sacramento, and showed up for the early shift. What he found broke his heart. The general manager, Carla, was shouting at a teen who looked no older than 17 for mixing up 2 orders. "How hard is it to follow simple instructions, James?" she snapped, slamming a spatula onto the grill. James's hands shook as he corrected the order, blinking back tears. In the break room, Richard overheard a pregnant employee, Maya, arguing with someone on the phone. "I'm telling you, I can't take another shift. My feet are swollen, and they won't give me a stool to sit. Please, just keep watching Lily for 2 more hours." The ice machine was broken, yet no one had fixed it for weeks. The grease trap overflowed nightly. Workers were paid minimum wage, often denied breaks, and told to deal with it when they complained. And Carla? She ran the place like a tyrant. She hit her sales targets, sure. But at what cost? Still, Richard kept quiet. He swept floors, took orders, and flipped patties. Day after day, he observed. He talked to employees during their 10-minute breaks, short, rushed conversations that revealed so much pain. So many of them were stuck. One guy, Luis, said he was working 2 jobs and sleeping in his car. Another, Aisha, had dropped out of community college because her schedule kept changing last minute. The final straw came on a Saturday. Richard was taking orders when Maya, the pregnant worker, slipped near the fryer. She cried out in pain, clutching her belly. Instead of helping, Carla yelled, "If you can't keep up, maybe you shouldn't be working here." The room fell silent. Customers stared. Maya, humiliated and in pain, was helped up by James and another worker. Richard stood frozen, fists clenched. That night, he didn't go home. He sat in his rental car in the parking lot, eyes fixed on the glowing Fire Grill sign, and called an emergency board meeting. "I've seen enough," he told them. His voice was tired but clear. He explained everything, every mistreatment, every corner cut, every lie buried beneath quarterly reports. The board squirmed. Their VP of operations tried to justify the numbers, the growth, the profit margins. "I don't care," Richard snapped. "If this is how we scale, I'd rather we didn't grow at all." Then he did what no one expected. He canceled the upcoming $250 million expansion deal, one that would have added 300 more locations across the country. Shareholders screamed. Journalists called it madness. But Richard didn't flinch. Instead, he redirected the funds. He launched a full-scale internal audit of every Fire Grill store, personally hiring third-party ethics investigators to assess each franchise. He ordered immediate changes, wage increases, guaranteed breaks, paid maternity leave, and a strict no-retaliation policy for workers who spoke up. Carlo was fired, publicly. But he didn't stop there. He called a company-wide town hall, every employee invited, streamed live. And for the first time, Richard faced them not as a CEO, but as a man who had forgotten to look beyond spreadsheets. "I built this company with the dream of serving good food and giving people better lives," he said, voice cracking. "But I let success blind me. I stopped listening. That changes now." Maya, recovering and now on full paid leave, watched from her hospital bed. James, once anxious and unsure, was promoted to shift lead after Carlo's removal. Luis was offered corporate housing assistance. Aisha. She re-enrolled in school with a flexible work-study arrangement backed by Fire Grill. The public reacted swiftly. At first, skeptical. Then, stunned. Eventually, inspired. Fire Grill's reputation didn't just recover, it soared. Customers returned not just for the burgers, but for the story. For the integrity. The brand became a symbol of change, of corporate responsibility. A movement was born, Grill with Heart, and other companies followed. The irony? Canceling the $250 million deal cost them short-term profits. But within a year, Fire Grill saw record-breaking growth, not because they expanded fast, but because they grew right. In interviews, Richard never boasted about what he did. He just smiled and said, "Sometimes, you need to step into the fire to realize what's worth saving." And for millions of workers across the country, that undercover burger order wasn't just a gimmick, it was the spark that lit a revolution.